Welcome, Rivals, to episode 2 of Rivals Redux, the podcast taking you behind the stories inspiring Marvel games and NetEase's Marvel Rivals. I'm your host, Matt, and riding shotgun with me, as always, I guess again, is my co-host Jarvis. Say hi, Jarvis.
Hello to all the producers and recruiters out there. I've just finished updating my LinkedIn profile. Hopefully we can connect offline and talk about some exciting opportunities.
Whoa. It's only episode 2, buddy. Can you even give me a chance? Is it that bad working with me?
Being your pro bono assistant doesn't pay the bills. At least with Mr. Stark, I had a good dental plan.
You know what? I'm not even gonna go there. Let's just table this for now. You don't have a anyway. Back to topic. This is the show where we will dive headfirst into the comics, novels, and all stories Marvel Rivals has, is, and may draw on to add to the world of the time stream entanglement. Thank you for your reactions to the first episode. Thank you for your feedback. This was and is a labor of love. Just something fun to do on the side and get us all reading more comics. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff in the world that at least makes me want to put my head in a book or a story. While politics and things like that also have their place in comics, somehow I find it more manageable sometimes. But yeah, anyway, let's get to our first segment of the week, which is the Pool Box. In the Pool Box, I'm going to be telling you about all the new comics that came out this week and next week, since we'll be back in a new episode of Rivals Assemble. So let's talk about what dropped. For New Comic Book Day, the week of February 4th, and when I say that, that is New Comic Book Day itself. That's the Wednesday of the week when these comics drop. So that's not the Monday. Don't get it twisted. So, going on sale February 4th, 2026 was all new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, number 7, Avengers, number 35, Godzilla Infinity Roar, number 1, Logan, Black, White, and Blood, number 2, Magic and Colossus, number 1, Nova Centurion, number 4, Planet of the Apes vs. Fantastic Four, number 1, Spirits of Violence, number 5, Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant, number 1, The Amazing Spider-Man, number 21, Ultimate Endgame, number 2, Ultimate Wolverine, number 14, Uncanny X-Men, number 23, and Wolverine, number 15. Now, this is in hopes that if you hear about something that you like, you might be inspired to go pick it up, or at least go to your local shop and give it a look. We're also going to be telling you about the new books that hit Marvel Unlimited, Marvel's app, which is usually a couple months behind in putting new releases out there. So the books added this week: all new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, number 3, Battle World, number 2, Black Cat, number 3, Cloak or Dagger, number 1, Death of the Silver Surfer, number 5, Emma Frost, the White Queen, number 5, Expatriate X-Men, number 1, Imperial, number 4, Marvel Rivals King in Black, number 1, Mortal Thor, number 3, Runaways, number 5, Star Wars Boba Fett, Black, White, and Red, number 2, Star Wars Dr. Aphra, Chaos Agent, number 5, Undeadpool, number 1, Venom, Black, White, and Blood, number 3, The X-Men Infinity Comic, number 5, X-Vengers, number 1. Also, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Brooklyn's Finest, Infinity Comic, number 5, and Marvel Rivals Infinity Comic, number 40. Also, one of the newest ones added this week, Symbi Infinity Comic, number 2. And Symbi is like a cutesy symbiote little thing. Think like Sunday Funnies comic meets Clintar symbiote. Yeah, that's an interesting one for sure. And the last thing I'll be telling you about in the pull box are any new collections being put out by Marvel, which includes trade paperbacks, hardcovers, collections of comics that you can go and buy in person and not have to wait for an entire issue. So, releasing this week is the Fantastic Four Epic Collection, Back to the Basics. And so the Epic Collection is usually older comics released by Marvel, where they assemble books together, which chronologically might not fall all together, but given the age of the comic, it's a bunch of stories all put together. Also, Fantastic Four Fanfare, the trade paperback, Marvel Fanfare Omnibus Volume 2 in hardcover. There's also a direct market Arthur Adams variant. And so what that means is direct market is usually a specific order placed by a retailer. So the original cover of this Marvel Fanfare is the Thing fighting a bunch of different aliens. And the direct market cover is, I believe, Hobgoblin, Black Cat, and Black Suit symbiote Spider-Man. So if you like that one, you would go to your comic shop and say, hey, can you get me a copy of this direct market book? And it's everything same on the inside, just a different cover. Also coming out this week, New Champions, Change is Coming, the trade paperback, the Sentry Omnibus in hardcover, and also a Dave Bullock direct market cover with more of a cartoony cover. The original hardcover on that looks really good. That's what I would go with if you're asking me. But I'm also going to preview what is coming out next week, so you can get ready to go to the shop, write down what you want. So coming out next week for New Comic Book Day, February 11th, Alien vs. Captain America, number 4, Amazing Spider-Man, Torn, number 5, Black Cat, number 7, Cyclops, number 1, Shadows of Tomorrow, Mark Spector, Moon Knight, number 1, Planet She-Hulk, number 4, The Punisher, Facsimile Edition, number 1. So a facsimile edition is a reprint of an older issue with the same ads and everything. You just pay today's price. So it'll say like $1.25 on the cover, but they're like, no, give me $5 for that. Spider-Man Noir, number 5. Star Wars Jar Jar, number 1. This is really funny. So Jar Jar getting his own comic featuring a team up with Jedi Knight Keller and Beck, who, if you're not familiar with Star Wars, they tried to give the guy a little bit of redemption. And so the guy who voices Jar Jar Binks was made a Jedi Knight in The Mandalorian and all this stuff. And so that's him. So it's a very self-aggrandizing comic, I guess. Oh, and he wrote it too. On my best, yeah. Interesting. Also coming out, The Fall of Ultraman, number 1. Ultimate X-Men, number 24. Venom, number 254. And the latest Deadpool volume, Wade Wilson, Deadpool, number 1. Talked about this in the last issue. Coming out to Marvel Unlimited next week as well. We have Alien vs. Captain America, number 1. Amazing X-Men, number 2. Avengers, number 32. Binary, number 2. Echo, Seeker of Truth, number 1. Laura Kinney, Sabretooth, number 2. Long Shots, number 2. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, number 40. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, number 14. Planet She-Hulk, number 1. Spirits of Violence, number 2. Star Wars, Legacy of Vader, number 10. The Amazing Spider-Man, number 15. And Ultimate X-Men, number 21. And last but not least, the new collections coming out next week. The Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus, Volume 1, with the volume by Zeb Wells. Black Panther, Panther's Prey Omnibus in hardcover, as well as a Jack Kirby direct market variant. Daredevil, Back in Black, trade paperback. Daredevil, Death of Daredevil trade paperback, Daredevil, The Dark Art trade paperback, and Deadpool Wolverine, A Time of Strife, the trade paperback, One World Under Doom, recent event from late last year, the trade paperback, and Runaways, Think of the Children, trade paperback. Yeah, so lots of comics coming out. Hopefully that gave you a good idea of what you can pick up. So that's all for the pull box. Let's head next into the big lore segment where we're going to talk about some more Deadpool comics because we are right on the cusp of the new half season. So we're going to wrap up with more Deadpool here. In this new segment we call Greatest Hits. All right, so last time we were together, gave you a little homework, and that was to finish up a mini-series from Deadpool that we had started called The Circle Chase, which was published in 1993. This was Deadpool's first mini-series, and I really liked this. It's a 4-issue mini-series, easy to finish, great art. Let's go through the creative team again. Writer Fabian Nicieza, penciler Joe Madureira, inker Mark Farmer, colors by Glynis Oliver, letters by Chris Iliopoulos, edited by Suzanne Gaffney. I love this art. It is classic Marvel 90s art. And this whole event, I think, is the Deadpool that I like. It's not too hokey. It's not too jokey. Sorry, I didn't mean to rhyme there. But it is good action. It is comic art that I love. It is intriguing stories that are there's an urgency to the storyline. So if you remember in issue 1, Deadpool is chasing down basically this secret cache left by Tolliver, the guy who hired him in his first appearance more than a decade ago at this point. Because it was 83, I believe, to kill Cable. And he's died, and basically, I compared it to the One Piece last time. He's got this One Piece, basically, that is the world's greatest weapon, and whoever controls it, will be top dog. And so anyone who has either heard of it or has worked for Tolliver in the past wants it. But for some reason, everyone thinks Deadpool knows about it and knows where it is. Spoiler alert, Deadpool doesn't know anything and is having to fight off anyone and everyone coming out of the woodwork to try and get this information out of him. That includes Juggernaut and Black Tom Cassidy, the cousin of Banshee, if you know that comic character. So through a series of events, Deadpool finds himself on this plane with Black Tom and Juggernaut, and they have a key card that he needs. Because on this key card basically is the information of where Tolliver's trove is, if you will. And Black Tom Cassidy recently gotten some cool upgrades to his powers, a lot stronger, a really cool fight on a plane. Deadpool throws grenades at the plane door and explodes, sucking Black Tom Cassidy out. Juggernaut jumps off the plane after him. He hijacks the plane and, takes the key card. In issue 2, we also meet a character named Slayback. And since I haven't read too much into early Deadpool, besides many of his first appearances, I wasn't aware of who Slayback was, but he has this kind of, how do I explain it? Some of his design evokes like Warlock and Cypher or the Phalanx to me. Or the Legacy Virus to me, all which is very interesting because of the ties of Cable to Deadpool. If, kind of that hatchy, scaly appearance in the comics. You might not know what I'm talking about, and I might have done a bad job explaining it, but we persist. Um, and basically, at the end of issue 2, Slayback said that he's waited 10 years to come back from the dead to kill Deadpool. So this is like halfway through the story for us. And so upping the ante, heading into the next issue, where Deadpool meets the Executive Elite, this kind of team of mercenaries, if you will, Makeshift, Rive, and Comcast. Yes, you heard that right. And they've been hired to capture Deadpool, get information off of him. And through some quips, they're able to actually electrocute him, shock him, knock him out. And I will say, for being 4 issues, we are going all over the globe. We're in the former Yugoslavia, we're in Switzerland, we're in Egypt, we're in Nepal, we're in the U.S., we're not in Australia. It's mentioned. But after waking up, Deadpool takes out the Executive Elite. His friend Weasel, kind of like the man in the chair, if you will. They get a second disc from this crew, the key card, if you will. They combine it and they learn that the trove is in Nepal. Elsewhere, Copycat, Vanessa Carlyle, who everyone thinks is dead, former love of Deadpool, she has gotten there first. She manages to get inside, but waiting for her is Slayback, and who takes her captive because she is the way to Deadpool. Gosh, this art is so good. Interestingly enough, her powers are kind of like Rogue, but instead of absorbing powers and abilities, she absorbs like their form, if you will. So think like if Mystique had to trigger her powers by using Rogue's power. That might have been able to have been explained simpler. Issue 4, Deadpool and Weasel get to Nepal. Weasel's climbing up the stairs. He gets in, and Deadpool has dispatched of all the monks. It's unclear if they are dead or just knocked out. Deadpool, makes some jokes about there's something not right with monks. They don't get enough fun time. I haven't been a monk, so I don't know, but I assume they would like that. They get to this like temple basically in the middle of the monastery. And they've also been followed by Weapon X himself. We talked about him last issue. He has the ability to kind of like launch off different body parts because as part of the program, they were all kind of made interdependent of each other. So it's like Rocket Fist, shoots his fist off and then it can come back and reconnect to him. And it looks, think of like a pharaoh's tomb where the pharaoh is supposed to be buried with everything that they'll need going into the next life. This is kind of like that. Like Tolliver had assembled weapons, wealth, all of this stuff. And standing in the corner is this huge, tall, like white robotic figure that honestly looks like a mannequin, like the buffest, sickest Nike bodybuilder mannequin ever. And it's called an Atom unit. And from the pieces that they put together, they realize that it is a peacekeeping machine. And its abilities is that it will neutralize threats that are threats. Yeah, basically. Anything that would provoke war and death. It possesses this intellect that is able to compute and point out threats and neutralize them. And the Deadpool and Weasel and Weapon X see Slayback has Vanessa, and out of kind of like fight or flight, she's starting to absorb Slayback's look. And so you see like the scaly skin on her start to form. And they say that's not good. because he's unstable. Um, Deadpool starts to fight Slayback. Meantime, Weapon X and Weasel are trying to figure out what to do because this fight is going nowhere fast. Deadpool is shocked to see Slayback because he killed him apparently 10 years ago, made him a puddle of goo, and kind of like how Deadpool has this healing factor. Apparently, Slayback does as well, and it took him 10 years to reassemble himself, all the while thinking about how he could exact revenge on Deadpool. Like, my guy, like I've held a grudge, but whew, that's a long time. So, and this really, this seemed like I think this would make a perfect adaptation for a limited series. In the fight, it's going on. Weasel and Weapon X are trying to activate this thing. Maybe it can help them. And Weasel steals Weapon X's gun arm, shoots it point blank in the face, and the thing activates. But not before Slayback forms this like long cybernetic tendril and goes to like stab Deadpool through the chest. Vanessa jumps in the way of it, and a woman sacrifices herself for a man. She says, no, he can be better. He's not a monster. I'm going to give him the chance to do that. Not really getting time to process, the Atom unit comes in through like hardcore judgment, is like, yo, Slayback, you've got to go. Absorbs the energy, basically like disintegrates him, and then starts to analyze everyone else in the immediate area too. Going to Weasel first, he's like, oh, he's got a firearm, he's not a threat. Going to Weapon X, he's like, he is made to be a threat, but he is showing signs of restraint and a desire to only do good in the world and be a hero, something like that. And then sights set on Deadpool. It's like, this is a weapon, this is a murderer. Commence with neutralizing him. And it's like, oh, whoa, guys, like we're in the final pages of issue 4. Like, is this going to be it? Is this curtains for Deadpool? Find out next. No. Deadpool stops him. He's like, no, I'm not a monster. I can't let my past define me. I also, I do bad things, but they're for a reason. I also have a healing factor, and I'm the only person who can save this woman's life. And the robot's basically is like, go on, I'll consider it. And he like rips off his shirt minus his mask, which kind of reveals his scarred body from the Weapon X program, and holds Copycat up to him, and she absorbs, I guess she can absorb powers because it's not just the look. I guess it comes in tandem together. But yeah, she absorbs part of his healing factor, and it closes up this huge hole in her chest where this big tendril went through. And she begins to heal. Atom unit leaves. They do not tell us where it goes. This Minority Report robot that is, delete first, ask questions later, almost nuked Deadpool. If it weren't for this moment of, self-reflection and, this desire to do good, he would have been gone. Steals some of the riches from this monastery temple, and that's it. This was the weapon. It's gone. It's out in the world now. So yeah, the Atom unit, one of 13. So yeah, I'm sorry. The ambient energy dampening automated peacekeeping mechanisms. Fun fact, they're created in the 39th century by the Ascani, Clan Ascani. Rachel Summers. A link to Cable. A link to Tolliver, who, spoiler alert, is Strife. It all makes sense. So yeah, that is Deadpool, the Circle Chase. I highly recommend reading it online. It is a fun short read. I might actually even pick up the trade paperback of this if I can find it because I love the art so much. Great splash pages, great just like the best art page that stood out to me is like the front profile of Deadpool in the classic 90 Marvels like physique. Um, Massive dude just holding up a guy by the scruff on his neck. Um, just such a good, powerful pose. I really, really liked it. All right, so the second book we talked about reading was Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Volume 1. And in doing some more research on this, apparently this is part of what's known as the Deadpool Killology. Yes, you heard me right. The Deadpool Killology spans more than a decade now, and Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe was followed by Deadpool Killustrated and Deadpool Kills Deadpool. And then later, it was rebooted with Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe again, and Deadpool Kills the Universe one more time, published in 2017, 2023, respectively. So, where to start with this? If you are not about violence and gore, this isn't for you. But it's, I don't know, I had a warning on the front page, but this is not the goriest comic I've read. I think Invincible is much more disgusting. Gory, I guess. And so the premise of this book is that we start out with, well, actually, we start out kind of like a cold open, like a TV show. And Deadpool, well, it opens on Invisible Woman cradling like the head of Mr. Fantastic. And it's this huge shot of him stretched like a cat's cradle all over the Baxter building. And she's like cradling his head and he's saying, she's like, you got to hold on, Reed. He's like, no, Sue, you have to run. He's coming for you next. She's like, but the kids, and he's like, the kids are safe. I put them in the negative zone, but there's no way for them to get back. And she's like, oh no, oh no. And like right off the bat, the stakes are like, what is going on? She's like, he already got Ben. And that's when you notice, at least for me, that there are orange rocks scattered all around the floor. Like the thing is dead. And then Mr. Fantastic's head melts in her hands, basically. He's stretched beyond capacity and like he loses his form. Like he dies like that. She hears like an explosion, runs out of the room and sees that, I think is it the Fantastic car? And Johnny like crawling out of it, like arms in angles that they should not be. And behind him is Deadpool, who comes up behind him, slices his head off. And Sue, like full baddie Sue she is, like he says something to her, steps towards her, and you see his head start to expand. And she forms like a bubble in his head and makes it explode, like decapitating him. She's like, don't ever threaten me and my family again. She walks towards Johnny and like starts to like mourn him. And when all of a sudden samurai sword through her chest and he's like, don't ever turn your back on someone with a healing factor. Crash to the title sequence. What? Right off the bat, stakes are so high. The Watcher, Uatu, is like, this is another story of, you know, one of the multiverses. And he says, but this is not where our story starts. Takes us to Deadpool being admitted to Ravenscroft Asylum. Think Arkham Asylum, but Marvel Comics. Very popular in the Spider-Man comics for trying to rehabilitate villains, but it pretty much just becoming a festering cesspool of unfixables. the X-Men are committing him, and it doesn't really tell you why. I mean, this is a 4-issue miniseries, so let's get to it. They commit him, and I was led to believe that there was something going on, a little bit of like conniving between Professor Xavier, who is not in a wheelchair, and the man who turns out to be Psycho Man, piloting this human bot. And through trying to control Deadpool's mind and create for himself an army of assassins, basically, he lobotomizes Deadpool, silencing some of the quippy voices in his head, but then this new voice. And think this is all being told in different voice bubbles. So you realize the other voices go away and a new type of voice bubble appears. It's like, good, we can finally get to work. And basically, trying to get Deadpool to kill everyone because they are all fodder by their creators, the comic creators. And he's like, I'm done playing nice with everyone. And that sets him off on this journey.
Oopsies. Another missed call. It's Neil again, sir. As your instructions, I've screened your calls. He didn't buy the line about reverse long-distance charges you made up. Shall I play the message?
Yeah, come on. Yeah, I want to know what he said about this. Go ahead, play it.
Matt, you said you're going to pick up the phone this time. Oh, all right. I guess I'm stuck talking to myself again. I don't have a fancy AI assistant. Where am I supposed to get one of those? Can't find those anywhere. Anyway, this is my thoughts on Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. So I read through this for the first time here. And overall, this was fantastic. This is a must-read Deadpool comic, I think. And I'm very excited to know that there are more of these. This is like the ultimate, not collaboration, but it is like across the different heroes. Like you get to see all the good stuff here. All the best heroes, and also it's more on the violent side. You definitely get a lot of blood and gore, which isn't usually tied with some of these heroes, like Spider-Man. He does the Spider-Man battle, and first Deadpool falls and smashes his head, and Spider-Man's like, yep, I win. Oh wait, it's Deadpool. He comes back to life all the time. So he does really seem like a menace and something to be afraid of, which I liked here. And to add on top of that, he's got this extra voice talking to him that someone tried, awakened in him or something. I don't know what happened with that part, but they were trying to control him to do that, and he kind of took it upon himself, and I thought that was pretty neat. Threw in all the X-Men there, which I liked. You had your own fight against Wolverine, which was pretty neat, and that became, I don't know if this is their first kind of standoff, but I know from the movies and a few other, he's got his own Deadpool versus Wolverine series or whatever that was, a few issues that they've got their rivalry, and they played into that with the actors from the films too, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's good to see into that a little bit. They both got the regenerative powers. Obviously it doesn't work out so well for Wolverine, but watching them fight was pretty cool. Also Arcade being in this. I didn't know much about Arcade, and we actually played through a one-shot, and I have to say that Mark DM'd this, and he was now whenever I see Arcade, I just think of Mark doing his Arcade voice, and it's fantastic. So thank you, Mark, for that. Really brought life to this character for me. And yeah, so this was a great series. I think I read it all in one sitting. It was very easy to just keep reading, lots of action, not too, like, I knew most of the characters already, so it was pretty easy to follow for the most part. And just, this was the fourth wall breaking that I've kind of heard through the grapevine that Deadpool likes to do. So first was the Watcher. So him coming through and actually just killing the Watcher that was narrating the story to start with. That was a cool little way to expand on that. And then with that end of the book or end of the series, that was pretty awesome too. And I read this through a digital comic where they had some little behind the scenes pages, and it showed another layer of that is the layouts and the sketches and the explaining each panel and what it is. And they had that on the, like, after the comic was done as a little bonus at the end. So I thought that was pretty neat to even go deeper into that and see how they were planning to lay out those panels and those pages when he goes into the writer's room and starts killing everybody. So besides that, I liked the, hey, let's pool our money together and hire somebody to kill Deadpool. The first panel where they show who ends up being the Taskmaster, I didn't know who this was. The cloak looked very Moon Knight to me, so I'm like, oh, maybe it's Moon Knight. And then it shows a skull head. I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe it's something like Moon Knight. And I'm like, okay, skulls, that could be the Punisher. Is this the Punisher? No, he doesn't really, he's not carrying his guns. And then Deadpool ends up killing the Punisher after that point. So, okay, it wasn't the Punisher. And then it comes to be that it's the Taskmaster, which I don't know too much about either. So that was pretty neat to kind of see. I know that their powers are learning everybody's moves and being able to mimic things, and that was kind of the way that Deadpool defeated him. And the what was it, the Swamp Thing or the Man Beast or whatever that was pretty awesome. This art altogether was great, and I definitely enjoy the newer comics more than the older ones that we read last episode. So I'm looking forward to reading more of the newer Deadpool, and they have so many new volumes coming out. I think they just wrapped one up, as Matt said last episode. So I'm gonna read more into that. I think this has been a really cool dive into some of the best of and the hits, and it's really getting me to want to dig deeper and see more of what's going on. So yes, this was a great comic, great series, and I'll definitely be checking out he kills the Marvel Universe again and again, or however many there are. So looking forward to that one.
I think it is really funny that Neil really liked Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, because Neil is one of the most squeamish people that I know. I DM for us a lot. I'm a professional DM for hire. So if you want me to dungeon master for your games or any other role-playing game system, hit me up at GGsMatt or on Discord. But yeah, Neil is always the first to go, ugh, or, contort his face when something a little gory happens. Thanks for your thoughts, Neil. Yeah, I love the way that the writers came up with the ways that Deadpool kind of dispatches of these people. If you're familiar with DC Comics, there is, oh gosh, what is it? The Justice League, is it the Tower of Babel arc, where basically the Legion of Doom starts taking out members of the Justice League one by one. They find out, spoiler alert, that they stole the plans from Batman, who came up with a way to take out every single one of the Justice League members using like their greatest weakness, that he had been saving in case he needed to do that. And I guess Deadpool, using his own knowledge of these characters, is able to do that. Like he takes out the Avengers, being Captain America, Iron Man, Luke Cage, Captain Marvel, Spider-Woman. Gosh, who else was sitting at that table? Like in one fell swoop, he steals a bunch of Pym particles and puts bombs in there. And then when Luke Cage gets up and he's like, "Can't kill me that easy," he's like, "Oh, but you drank all that coffee. Guess what? There were bombs in it. Boom, he's dead." Doesn't kill Thor though until he uses Pym particles on Mjolnir and basically blows it up and is like, "What's stronger, Mjolnir or your flesh?" Hard, so hard. And Neil also pointed out Arcade. Basically, Deadpool hires Arcade to create this warehouse of death traps, and he kidnaps Professor Xavier. If you'll remember, I said there's something going on with Professor Xavier and Psycho Man. I don't know. I kind of have a problem with Professor Xavier. At some point in comics, he became much holier than thou, and like this pivot to like this sardonic, conceited, I don't know, I just didn't really like him, and this is the version of him I do not like. And Deadpool is torturing him, and he forces him to mentally call the X-Men to him. And so like every X-Man comes running to save Professor Xavier. And there's one cut of Cyclops with Emma Frost, Pixie, and Cannonball. And Scott is trying to blast through something, help them escape. And this thing of goo shoots out, covers his head in this like quickly hardening substance. He goes to blast it off, but instead of doing that, it reflects his optic blasts, and he kills all of them. And then there's, let's see what else. Shadowcat he traps in like this box of mirrors, which I don't know if that checks out because she could just drop through it. She doesn't have to jump through a mirror. So that one didn't really hold up. But basically his thought was, if I can't kill her, I'll just keep her going from place to place without being able to slow down. And then, like he said, Wolverine, he shows Wolverine that he kidnapped Laura Kinney, who is X-23 or the new Wolverine, right now the new Sabretooth, and his son, half-son, Dakin, who both have his regenerative healing factor. And basically what Deadpool has done is tortured them as well. And so since he can't kill them because of their healing factor, he has them strung up to this machine where anytime their healing factor starts to kick in, these like jet turbines turn on them. And so they're in this cycle of essentially being killed. That sets off Wolverine, who Deadpool ultimately cuts his head off. And the panel Neil talked about is the Watcher is like, yes, and sometimes we can avoid these things. And all of a sudden Deadpool turns and like looks out and he says, "You're next." And then he cuts the head. He's torturing the Watcher and he's like, "Who are you talking to?" And you see like the finger of the Watcher point out. And then, oh gosh, it's this creepy shot of Deadpool's eyes, like looking at you, the reader. He's like, "Oh, I see." And then the last panel of the comic is, well, basically what Deadpool does is he finds what's called the Nexus of Realities. And we're kind of led through this by Taskmaster, who was hired, I believe, at the end of issue 2 by all the loved ones of heroes who've been killed. Like Aunt May, Alicia Masters, like they have assembled all this money. They want Taskmaster to kill Deadpool. and Taskmaster's playing detective in the next few books, like following Deadpool around, seeing his handiwork, what's happened. He gets to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and Doctor Strange is dead, Wong is dead, and Deadpool has stolen a map, or basically finds a map to the Nexus of Realities, the entryway to all the multiverses. And after killing all the heroes in his universe, he gets into basically the Nexus of Realities, this voice, not really fighting, coexisting, and think like Venom symbiote, just, wanting him to kill. And he arrives in our universe, in the comic writer's room, and kills all of them. And then the last panel of issue 4 is looking out at the reader and saying, "Don't worry, I'll eventually find your multiverse. You're next." Like, so dope. But yeah, that is Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. All right, only one thing left to do. Time for our last segment called Letters to the Editor, or Dear Doom. Now, I'm not going to drone on with comments and, things that people commented on the podcast, but specifically questions that are tied to what we're reading. And so in the Spotify comments of our first episode, got a question from Stay Puff, who said, "How did Deadpool end up taking care of Jeff?" It's actually a really funny story. So Jeff, the land shark, was created by MODOK in comics, along with a lot of other land sharks, as kind of like an army of minions, if you will. Like, oh no, sharks that can get around on land, vicious, horrible creatures. Well, the West Coast Avengers encounter this. Gwenpool, who is, gosh, that's a whole episode in itself if she ever gets added to the game. Think Deadpool, but reverse. So Gwen Pool is from our world, the reader's world, and wants to be a hero, somehow finds her way into comics. So since she is of the other world, she can break the fourth wall as well. That's a whole convoluted thing. But basically, she ends up finding Jeff, adopts him in West Coast Avengers issue number 7. It's in 2019. And at the start of Deadpool, I believe it's Deadpool Volume 7 in 2019, she drops him off with Deadpool at the end of that first issue of that book. And he's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, listen, in a really meta moment, she says, my books keep getting canceled, and I don't know what's going to happen to Jeff. He'll survive if I leave him in your narrative because you always have a book. Like, you are always getting a new book, but mine, they only last a couple issues. I don't know why people aren't reading them. Very true. Gwenpool does not sell comics. She says, I don't know what happens to him if he stays in mine. And so she leaves Jeff with Deadpool. Suffice it to say, during this arc, he is king of the monsters. So gets a land shark henchman with him. So Gwenpool doing the ultimate sacrifice to make sure that little baby Jeff the land shark doesn't get written into oblivion or forgotten like many comic book characters of the past. That is when he went to stay with Deadpool, and has changed hands and ownership, conservatorship, I don't know, a lot since then. So yeah, thank you for the question, Stay Puff. Gwenpool, one of the amazing kind of variants of Deadpool. We've got Lady Deadpool, we've got Kidpool, we've got Headpool, we've got Undeadpool, we've got gosh, who else? There's even a Deadpool core at one point. He unites Deadpools from all over the multiverse, and it's crazy. But we don't have time to go into all of that. So before we leave you this week, I'm going to leave you with some homework. Coming up on the next season of Rivals is the introduction of Elsa Bloodstone. And so, dear listener, dear reader, dear rival, here is your homework to get ready for Elsa Bloodstone. First, I'm going to have you read Bloodstone number 1. This is a limited series from 2001, the first appearance of Elsa Bloodstone, looking very different than she does now. Also, Legion of Monsters, #1, from 2011. Elsa Bloodstone is a monster hunter. Everything is going to be very monster flavored. So that is Legion of Monsters #1 from 2011. There's also Monsters Unleashed, a event series from 2017. I've talked about it a lot. Good kaiju and creatures like that. Beautiful art style. Highly recommend it. And then for a little bit more background on the Bloodstone itself, I suggest you check out Marvel Presents Bloodstone from 1975. This is about Ulysses Bloodstone, Elsa's dad. Elsa wasn't around until 2001, so we had to get the introduction of the Bloodstone somehow. But yeah, that is your homework. Bloodstone #1, Legion of Monsters #1, Monsters Unleashed, and Marvel Presents Bloodstone. We'll talk about those next time here on Rivals Redux. If you want to stay in touch with us, you can go to rivalsassemble.com, where you can find all the information on our podcast, Redux and Assemble, as well as the link to our Discord. Highly suggest you join Blade's Book Club, where we can start talking about these books off air. You'll also find a link to our Patreon, where you can become a true believer for $5 a month and get access to a large backlog of episodes, solo host shows from Rivals Assemble, including yours truly, our MCU recap, where we are watching our way through the Marvel Universe. What else? We've got some fun video game episodes up there that we previously did, but then we are also constantly putting more things out all in one spot for you to listen to. Thank you to the patrons who support us. We thank you, and you make all of this possible. Let's see. Guys, I think that's it. So go ahead, start downloading your comics, go to your library, check it out. Get reading, and we'll see you next time, where we talk all things Elsa Bloodstone. Until next time, dear rivals, GG's. Jarvis, play me out.